Hey, this is Austin with Points Unknown TV, and today we're going to compare a 2017 Africa Twin with a 2023 Tenere 700. When the Africa Twin came back to market in 2016 in the US, it was the bike to have. It represented a new adventure motorcycle to compete with the big BMW 1200 GS and was a significant departure from those big, heavy boxer type bikes. The Africa Twin features a 1000cc, approximately 93 horsepower engine, and comes in at just over 500 pounds before you put all the bars on it. This was a big departure from the really popular large BMW 1200 and 1250 series. I upgraded from the Suzuki DL1000 or V-Strom 1000 to the Africa Twin, and it was just night and day going from the V-Strom to the Africa Twin in terms of the capabilities of the bike, the handling, the feel. The Africa Twin was definitely a much more premium bike than the V-Strom and just felt much more comfortable off-road, but also still maintained good on-road sensibilities. Cruising on the highway for long periods of time were nothing for the Africa Twin, similar to the V-Strom, but then getting off-road, riding the Africa Twin on gravel and loose terrain, it just felt much more natural and much more capable of a bike. But at over 500 pounds, and that's before I put all the bars on it, it's a heavy bike. It is a beast. And I also noticed, just very quickly, that it got a little scary once you got into rough terrain, and picking the bike up after dropping it was quite a thing. And just for my skill level, it's a lot of bike to handle. Now, certainly compared to the V-Strom, the Africa Twin is just an amazing all-around machine. The V-Strom was never really comfortable doing anything more than solid gravel roads, whereas the Africa Twin is just much more capable, much more solid feeling off-road, much more connected to the road, and it felt a lot more balanced. The V-Strom felt very top-heavy compared to the Africa Twin. I remember my first ride on the Africa Twin, I just feeling so much more in balance and in control of the bike, even with its increased weight. The Yamaha Tenere 700 was released, I believe, in 2019, and it was a significant departure from the big bikes, big adventure bikes of old, like the GS series from BMW and even the Africa Twin. This was the bike to have when it was released. It was nearly impossible to get in the US, long waiting lists, huge price gouging where people would charge $3,000 to $4,000 over MSRP just so you could get your hands on a Tenere 700. And at 450 pounds or so claimed weight, this was a significantly lighter bike and a significantly more nimble platform to do more adventure riding when the roads become a little tougher, or for even some trail use depending on your skill level. I instantly knew that I wanted a Tenere 700 when it came out, but I wasn't willing to pay significantly over MSRP, and so I waited for quite some time. But finally, I gave in, found a shop that was willing to sell it to me for MSRP pricing, and picked up a 2023 version last winter. The Tenere 700 is in many ways very similar to the Africa Twin in a lot of the styling, in the use of technology with the simple electronics, not going overboard there. But in terms of riding and just the versatility of the Tenere 700 platform, it's a big departure, a very different feel of a bike for me in terms of my comfort level doing more technical terrain. really interesting comparing these two bikes is I feel a lot of riders maybe are initially drawn to the Africa Twin. It was out long before the Tenere 700 was out. But I think we're seeing a lot of movement from the larger bikes to the smaller bikes as people realize that the big bike is fantastic for big adventure touring, long hauls on pavement, or even long hauls on gravel road. But when you start to get into more complex and technically challenging situations, unless you are a really technically savvy rider and really technically advanced in your skill level, the big bikes are challenging, and the big Africa Twin is no exception, at least for me and my riding style. It is a big bike, and it is hard to handle when the road gets anything more than just smooth gravel once you get into some rocky, more technical terrain. And that's why I moved to the Tenere 700. It's just a lighter platform. It feels more accessible, more maneuverable. I mean, ultimately, it's just a less intimidating platform to ride on more technical terrain. Now, I'm certainly not of a skill level to take the Tenere 700 on trails or really, very technical terrain. But it's just much less intimidating to go an adventure on this bike. I feel like there's a lot less concern for, will this road dead end? Will I be able to turn it around? On the Tenere 700, I don't have those fears. I know that I can maneuver. I know I can get it out of most situations. On the Africa Twin, I was a bit afraid of it. It was just a bit too big of a bike for me, and I felt like I couldn't explore with it as much as I can on the smaller platform of the Tenere 700.
Of course, these opinions are my own and based on my own riding style, skill level, and personal preferences. In different hands, these bikes would behave very differently, and so ultimately the decision on which one to get is a very personal one. To be clear, I haven't gotten rid of my Africa Twin either. There's certainly a place for this big adventure beast in my garage. Longer trips with mixed highway and side roads, with modest gravel mixed in, and the Africa Twin is my go-to. And I really love the grunt power and stability of the Africa Twin, which makes shifting oftentimes optional and can easily plow through a headwind. But when the riding gets a little more adventurous, or I want to see where the path less traveled takes me, I go to the Yamaha Tenere. For me, the lighter bike and nimble feel gives me the confidence to explore further. And it has plenty of power and agility for a person of my size and skill level to tackle mountain roads, modest trails, and even the occasional long grind on the freeway. Either way, you can't go wrong with either of these two bikes. Which one you ultimately select is a personal choice that I leave to you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Points Unknown TV. I hope that it helped inform your motorcycle journey. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you want more Points Unknown content, please don't hesitate to subscribe. Points Unknown delivers monthly content just like this about motorcycles, adventure travel, DIY van building, and the gear to take with you on the trip. Thanks again, and I'll see you on down the trail.